Welcome to Diary of an Ex-Ho. I'm Cheri Hardman. I'm your ex-ho, and today's guest is Neil Singh. So sit back, enjoy the episode, and remember the old saying, always a bridesmaid when you're a hoe.
My name is Neil Singh. I currently live in Silverdale, Washington, so Kitsap County. My sexual orientation, I'm a cisgendered male. I think that's straight, right? That's the right, yeah. Either way. And then my relationship status, been married for oof, 14 years.
Oh, that's how long my husband and I have been married too.
Oh,
All right.
congratulations.
Well, good to have you. Congratulations to you. And the first thing we always do is a marry, shag, kill.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me go over, share my screen and go get that.
Okay.
All right, there we go. All right, so you have three people. You're gonna marry one. Why does this say, please move this window? I don't even know. Anyway, here's your three people. Can you see that?
Mary, yeah,
So
yeah, I can see. So Rihanna, Adele, and Mariah Carey.
since your
Oh,
last
well,
name
this is
is
tough.
Singh, I decided to pick these three. So which one you gonna
Uh,
marry? Which one you gonna shag? Which one you gonna kill?
um, I would shag Rihanna. Um, yeah, marry Adele and kill Mariah Carey. I hate to say that though, because I love all these ladies, but um, out of the three, I guess I would have to kill Mariah Carey.
All right, somebody's gotta
Mostly
go.
because of that Christmas song that we have to listen to every year. It's a
All
month
right.
of Mariah Carey. That's too much.
All right, bye Mariah Carey. Okay. So, when it comes to sex, would you rather watch or be watched?
I'd rather be watched. If there's sex happening, I want to be involved. You know,
Okay.
I don't want to be. I'm not passive in that sense.
Don't want to be just on the sidelines.
Yeah, like, what am I doing here? Like maybe if
Right.
you give me a popcorn or something,
Yeah.
but otherwise, what am I doing in this room?
All right. Um, when you were growing up, what did your parents or whoever raised you, what did they call private parts?
Interesting. I don't think my dad ever mentioned anything of the nature ever. Like he was a very strict, not religious, but just very conservative. So just
Mhm.
any talk of anything, I honestly don't know. But my mom used to call it a toto that for a penis and and pee pee for the lady part.
Hmm.
So that's how we refer. Yeah,
Right.
she would tell me to wash my toto quite a bit.
Right.
That was a big that was a big thing when I was growing up.
Were your parents good relationship role models?
Oh no, terrible. They hated each other. They're an arranged marriage, and it's a fun little story. My mom was 17 at the time. My dad was 27, and they were arranged. And actually, the way it happened, my dad was on his way to India to marry somebody else, her older cousin. But he got to look at my mom's picture and was like, no, why are you marrying me to that cousin? I would like the younger, prettier one. So, but the first night she was like in the whatever marital room, the honeymoon suite,
Hmm.
and he got drunk and he came back up to the room and got into the room and said, "I should have married the woman." And that was their start. That was day one. And so yeah, they slept in separate rooms. They really didn't like each other until their divorce when I was 8 years old. So it was very much obligated. And any sort of connection that they had was very obligated. You
Hmm.
know, they needed to have that was the next step sort of thing. So
Wow.
not
Are
not a
they
not a not a loving couple.
are they in other relation? Are they still alive?
My father passed away last month, but he was in a long relationship with what was my the way my mom puts it, he was. So it's interesting. My mom's a very like beautiful woman. I mean, she's 70 now. Still looks very elegant, and then the woman that my dad was or I guess he's not with her anymore. He's passed away.
Right. Right.
Um, not on the attractiveness scale, not as much. But they had a great relationship. He was very respectful, and my mom said he respected her because she was a white lady.
Oh.
So but yeah, so she had it. And then my mom got into a second marriage. That was a disaster. That guy was a sociopath. That's a whole nother. That's a, yeah. He was just a bad guy. He had multiple children all over the world. Slept with the
Oh.
secretary, robbed her, left her bankrupt and stuff. I don't know. It's a whole
That's too
thing.
bad. That's too bad. So,
Yeah.
how has the role modeling of relationships that you've seen, how has that affected you and your relationships?
I remember growing up thinking like, this is what you don't do. And I had a lot of examples of what not to do. And I think when I was a teenager, I lived with my dad for a bit, and him and his girlfriend, and that was just a normal relationship. There was nothing romantic. He paid the grocery bills, she paid the electric bills, but like they functioned.
All
You know
right.
what I mean? They functioned as a duo. Oh, sorry. Give me one. In that sense, they were a model of like what not to do. But my father's relationship with his long term girlfriend, I guess, was very it was very functional. So I think in terms of it's different, right? When you're in a relationship, uh, more casual dating, perhaps. I think you need to create more sparks and fire in those situations. But when you're married, it's more about figuring out how to coexist and push your whole agenda forward. So anyway, that's what I learned from them, and
Okay.
so
All
I
right.
think that's helped.
Uh, okay. So now I want to talk to you about what I call a sexual awakening. So that's like when you first realized that sex was a thing. Whether it was feelings in your body or somebody told you something or you noticed something, can you just tell me a little bit about that?
Sure, sure. I remember. Yeah, I was 8 years old, and I just there was a girl in class, and I think it was second or third grade. She had like curly red hair, and I just remember just finding that attractive, and just sort of thinking about that, like like a pervasive thought that just like you just and then try to approach her and talk to her, and it wouldn't, sort of I didn't know what to say. You know what I mean? So the nerves and the jitters and all that stuff. So I think that was what was her name? Oh, that's funny how life works that way. The only thing I could think about for 6 months, and then now I just don't even remember
It's
the name.
funny. Did you ever watch Charlie Brown commercials?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
cartoons. He always had a crush on the red. Was it curly redheaded girl or something? Her name was she was a redheaded girl. Anyway.
yeah. So I mean, I think that was the first, like, where I connected, like, oh, there's an individual. There's, you want to spend time with them, whatever. Um, and then having just like that like dread of like, oh, what if I say something that this person just whatever, that devastating sort of.
Mm, yeah. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
So anyway, yeah, but just having that sort of revelation or that feeling, right? It's very, I don't know, just very disarming from the first time. And then you get used to it. Then you just get used to, by the time I'm in my 20s, like, I can get rejected 10 times in a night, no problem. You know?
isn't that funny though that you equate your sexual awakening with the fear of rejection?
I mean, I don't think I've ever like, delved into it psychoanalytically, but I think belonging is I think when you come from a broken household, right? Like, even when my parents were together, they weren't together, right? They
Right.
slept in separate rooms, they just had separate lives. So then you kind of seek out like just somewhere to wherever home is, you know?
Right.
And so I think I always equated relationships with that desire,
Right.
which was tough. It was tough in my 20s because, like, at that time, everybody wants to just have fun and whatever. And I'm like, no, no, I would like a relationship. you know, they're
Mhm.
like, what are you? Is some sort of pussy,
All right, let's lighten it up a little bit. Did you have celebrity crushes when you were younger?
Oh, absolutely. Salma Hayek.
Oh,
Uh, I remember Desperado. There was a a nude scene in Desperado. And after that, I thought of no other woman. Like it was, I tried to date women that I dated a lot of because I lived in Southern California, so I dated a lot of Mexican women.
Mhm.
Um, and so yeah, I guess that kind of became my prototype. No, no, you know what I mean. I mean, in
Right,
terms of like whatever figure you look for and stuff like that.
right. Okay, well, and the next question is about mainstream movies that had scenes or whatever that turned you on. So that was one. Was there any other movies that kind of did it for you?
Well, I mean, you know, I, in the Desperado was the one.
Right.
I mean, there was lots of scenes, but I think I just kind of like I don't know if you remember in the '90s there was a website called Mr. Skin,
Mm-mm.
and it was just a website. Maybe it's still around where they just went and they would just forward. Or they basically just show you the clips of the nude parts of movies.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
just kind of watched a lot of. You could just look it up. Oh, I want to see Kim Basinger. I want to see, but you know
Oh,
what I mean. So it was just like, in a way, it was like information overload. So it honestly watching a movie for that reason. So, somebody's like, oh, it's a steamy movie. I'm like, oh, okay, let me go to Mr. Skin and find out what the
right.
good parts were. Yeah, I didn't need to waste my time on dialogue and such. But yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, Selma Hayek. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of them. Like I said, but it was more condensed. you know.
Right, right.
But I like Kim Basinger a lot. I don't know, Basinger or Basinger, but yeah,
I
she
think
had
it's
a
Baker, but I'm not positive either.
she had a
Yeah.
scene with Alec Baldwin. I think they were married, and then they had a movie together where they had like a love scene. And for some reason, I just remember thinking, oh, this doesn't seem as deviant.
Did
Like,
you ever watch 9.5 weeks?
I did, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's a some good sex scenes in that movie.
There was
So,
also what I think it was Vincent Gallo made a movie where they did like the first real blowjob on a screen, like
oh
in
really?
a Hollywood movie. It was like, yeah, it was Chloe Sevigny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she whatever she performed the act on screen, and it turned out she was not oriented that way. Anyways, it was interesting. But I watched it and I was like, oh yeah, this is not
Yeah.
whatever.
Do you watch porn, like porn?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a website I go to called Velisa.com. I do a joke about it kind of about it's like supposedly like it's porn made by females.
Oh yeah.
So it's a little I don't know. I always joke like, all the guys have jobs. It always starts out with a conversation, yeah, and it's a little soft. I don't know. It's not as aggressive as like
Right,
a
right,
Pornhub or whatever.
right. Well, kind of fits in with the next question. Like, do you think um your consumption of porn has had any effects on your life at all?
Only when my wife finds out. No, no, I mean, no, not really. I think I don't know. In general, like I'm 45, so I think in general you try to find life balance. I think there's a place.
Right,
There's a 15-minute place for porn in the beginning of your day, and then you should,
right.
it's kind of like get that out of the way and go about. So
Mhm.
I've never been like consumed like I shouldn't say never because there was a time when my dad first got me a computer of my own, a personal computer, and it was 1995 and just left me in my room, I was consumed like
Right,
up till 6 a.m. every morning. But subsequently, you know, developed a healthy relationship, I guess.
right, right. What is your definition of amazing sex?
Hmm. Yeah. Well, it's definitely not married sex. I can tell you that. Married sex is functional. That's like you're trying to like keep it going. Maybe you don't agree with that. That's fine. That
Uh,
might not be your
get it?
experience. Um, but I don't know. I think there's something about not necessarily a stranger, but like the first time with somebody. It's always because I think everybody brings their A game, especially meaning like. you've gone on a couple dates, you're sober going into the thing, not like a drunken hookup. That's more utilitarian.
Right.
But yeah, no, there's something about the build up. You're like, okay, it's the third date. We went to a nice restaurant, like, and then you kind of bring, you consider things like, oh, should I eat this food or not? Right. You know what I mean? Because what's going to be happening? You know what I mean? So you kind
Right.
of, you have a whole game plan and you play it out a certain way. So that's very exciting. At least the build up. So I think that's a good, that's the amazing
Okay.
stuff.
I got it. All right. Let's go to the wheel of dirty questions. So hang on. Let me go grab that. We're just going to spin it once and you only have one question. Would you prefer to be in control or to be dominated?
That's a really trust-based question. And since I mean, I don't trust most people, so I'd rather be in control. But that said, with the caveat of like, if there was somebody that I really trusted, then yeah, then I preferred not to be. But I don't know if I trust anybody in the world
Right.
that enough, to
Right.
be tied to something. But yeah, I'd rather be in control. Yeah.
I agree. All right. How's your body image?
Um, I'm okay with it. I mean, I know what it looks like. You know what I mean? I've been watching the Olympics. I know what bodies can look like. Um, but at the same time, I haven't followed the dietary regimen or followed the exercise. You know what I mean? Those things haven't been important in my life. So I think I function well. I'm happy to be able to, you know, whatever. I don't have any impediments to my day to day activities, and I'm healthy enough to do the things I want. So yeah, my body image is okay. Yeah. I
All
mean, you
right.
want me to get naked right now? I'll do it.
Go ahead. I don't care. I've done naked podcasts before. All right. So this might be a weird question. It's kind of experimental, but as a man, have you ever in your life been made to feel shame about your body parts?
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh, I don't have a tremendous penis when it comes to that. Sort of whatever when it comes to that. So like I mean when you're out there hooking up and college, high school, rumor mills, you know what I mean? People talking about, you know how kids are. People, that's what they do. So
Right.
in those terms, yeah, sure. I'm not an impressive specimen in that sense. Even I'm an eager specimen, not impressive.
All right. Well, what's the best compliment you've ever gotten on your naked body?
That wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I'm just kidding. Um, oh, actually, there was once a woman who complimented my penis she was kind of more petite. So she was kind of like, oh, this is a good penis for me, right? Like it was a good fit that way, and I was like, oh, well, that's yeah. I feel like we don't think about that. There is a certain compatibility element there, right? Because for every large penis, there's a endowed vagina, or vice versa, right? I would imagine. I would. I'm not a creator, but I think that this is how these things work. So,
Yeah. Do you have any sexual regrets?
um, yeah, I think there was, I think, um, not by way of excuse or anything, but like growing up in the 80s and maybe more so the 90s is I guess when I was more in puberty and stuff like that. Yeah, I think there's like, and I don't know what exists anymore, right? But there was a pressure to get laid or to whatever, have female companions or numbers or whatever,
Mhm.
right? And so in some of my younger relationships, remember being pushy about that, right? Or just almost like trying to, oh, come on, just get it done, because I don't want my friends making fun of me and, oh, you've been with her for this, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so I wish I had the maturity to let those things develop more organically.
That makes sense. Do you have anything left in your bucket list, sexual bucket list?
Um. Well, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is that type of show, right? So there's no point in not being crass about it. I've never done an ATM, an ask to mouth,
Oh,
I've just I don't know. It just never occurred. I've never asked. I've never really asked. I think I could pull it off, and I've never really asked. So I think if somebody offered, but I don't think that's something somebody offered. Maybe there is. I don't know.
I don't know either. That's interesting. Okay. Um, what's your hoe song? Like what song when you hear it kind of gets your hoe spirit?
Oh, my host spirit.
Yeah.
Oh, what gets me in the mood?
Yeah.
Um, there's that song. I realize as this proceeds, I sound like an old person, but there's a song called like Tennessee Whiskey. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think if I hear that in a bar, it kind of yeah, you know, or not even just in a bar, anywhere. I kind of it just kind of
Uh,
gets me in a romantic sort of mood.
right. Um, all right. This episode will probably come out like right around the 1st of September ish. Do you have
Okay.
anything to promote around that time?
Oh, I should have probably looked that up before I get into this. Um, you know what? I can't think of anything at the moment, but Funny Indian Sing on Instagram. If you follow me on that,
What's your
I'll usually Funny Indian Sing.
okay. All right. And now I didn't really prep you for this, but now is the time where I just ask you to tell me a story, sexual story. It can be funny, embarrassing, entertaining in some way um, of your choosing. It can be a dating story. It can be a married story. It can be a solo story. I don't care.
Okay. I got a story. It's not going to paint me in a particularly good light, but it's fine. It's in the theme of what we're doing, right? So
Mm,
I went to law school in New Orleans a while ago, and there, I remember it was our last Mardi Gras, right? So it's like it's our last Mardi Gras season, the last day of Mardi Gras. We spent the day drinking and stuff like that. We go to like Midtown where we were hanging out with some friends or met up with some other law school friends or whatever. And then there was a girl. She wasn't my type. It wasn't somebody that would normally hang out with or what have you. Like in terms of chemistry, there was none there. But I remember she whispered in my ear, like, or I asked her for a slice of her pizza. And then like she gave me a slice of her pizza and she whispered something in my ear. I forget what it was, but it was close enough where it was suggestive. And I remember she had onion breath. And then eventually, like, she was trying to talk to me throughout that night for the next couple hours that we were there. And eventually I just said, okay, if you wait outside, we can do this. So then, like, we kind of snuck away in the night or whatever. And then, we did whatever, the deed. We went up to her house and her apartment and did the deed. And then I kind of sobered up, right? And had the regret. Actually, I also had to throw up. I wasn't feeling good after full days of drinking and
mhm.
other things that were happening at that time. Um, so I remember I got up in the morning and I was this like panicked feeling like, oh, I got to throw up. I don't want to throw up in this girl's like living room. So I tried opening the front door, but it was locked somehow in a way I couldn't finagle it. So I opened the window. She was on the second floor of this house, and as I opened the window, and I was like calculating, I was like, it's about a 15-foot drop. So I think I can do this, but then I was like, if I don't, then I'm going to break an ankle or something like that. Then I'm stuck down there. Anyways, as I'm contemplating this, she walked out of her room and was like, "What are you doing?" And opened the door, and I got out of there. So that's it.
All right. I thought you were going to vomit out the window.
I vomited not too far away. I made it about a block and then yeah,
All right. Well, I always like to end a podcast on a puke story. All
there we go. Yeah.
right. Well, thanks. We're done. That's the end
All
of
right.
it.
All right.
Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Thanks.
Thank you for
It was
having
a
me.
lot of
Yep.
fun. All right. Bye-bye.
Right on.